from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff, to be your friend in the deep, dark night. I don't know if there can be a parade of meanders, or there could be a meandering parade, though parades are not normally meandering. There are a couple parades with some winding. And then if you had a parade with wind-up toys, here's an idea. Wind-up toy, that would be a winding parade. Could also be, I don't know if that's a pun. Yeah, also, if you're into, I don't know if that's Dion that's saying, wah, 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 wonder. But you could also sing, wah, 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 winding parade. My little winding parade. I wind my wind-up toys for my wah-wah winding toy parade. Now, if you're confused already, welcome to Sleep With Me, by the way. It's a podcast to keep you company and take your mind off so you could fall asleep. To be your friend in the deep, dark night, your companion, your bore friend. To just hang out with you so you could fall asleep, to relieve some of the, relieve whatever it is that's getting in the way of you in sleep, or whatever the kind of feelings are around that. The show's very different, but I'm here to help. So see how it goes. It does take a couple tries to get used to. What we got coming up for support, is support, then a long meandering intro to ease you into bedtime, and then our bedtime story. But I just want you to know, if you're new or you only listen once in a while, don't worry about supporting the show. But if you really like the podcast or you start to like it, you could just follow the podcast in your podcast app of choice. You could comment or like, you could spread the word about the show, let one person know about the podcast. And then if the podcast, you find yourself listening 4, 5, 6 nights a week, 4 more episodes a week, you've been listening for 6 months or longer, 3 years or longer, you fall asleep really fast. Then if you're one of those people, we really could use your support. So not the people that listen occasionally, not the people who can't support the show, not the new listeners, but if you're one of those people whose life is changed by the podcast, think about supporting one of these sponsors or supporting the show directly. Thanks. Sleep With Me podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this episode today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Taking care of your eyes shouldn't be a hassle. That's why Warby Parker is a one-stop shop for all your vision needs. Our prescription glasses and sunglasses are expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Stop by a nearby store or use our app to virtually try on frames and get personalized recommendations. Did we mention we offer eye exams and take vision insurance too? For everything you need to see, head to your nearest Warby Parker store or visit warbyparker.com today. That's warbyparker.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Scoots, and I'm running through the yeses for supporting the show because it takes a lot of yeses to support the show, but I want to go through the no's first. If you're new, don't support the show. If you only listen once in a while, no need to support the show. If you can't support the show, don't worry. We got you. And if you've already chosen or you're not interested in supporting the show, don't worry either. We got you. It is rare to support the show, and that's okay because it's difficult, even for the people that have heard me asking for years. So I'm trying to see if the yeses have piled up at this point for you. Like, yes, you love having a bore friend or a bore bud. Yes, I maybe put a smile on your face or half a smile. Yes, you got favorite episodes. Yes, you like to listen to it a certain way. Yes, you know the show is there. When you go to bed, when you're in the middle of the night, when you're on the road all night long, night after night, year after year. Yes, I know the podcast is there for me. I count on it. Yes, I couldn't find anything else like this. Yes, I couldn't replace the show. Yes, I know how much goes into this podcast. Yes, I know it needs people like me to support it. Yes, I want to be a part of this thing right now for me and everybody else. Yeah, it's going to feel great when I sign up for the podcast because it already feels great when I listen now. Yes, I can't wait to support the show because I love it, or I really strongly like the podcast. If that's you, you could sign up right now at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But if you have all those yeses, don't wait because they don't last. I've put stuff off, but you know what I mean. So don't put it off. Support the show now. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. I'm only asking if it's all yeses for you. And then set up the bonus content tomorrow, and you'll be a part of this thing now and into the future for as long as you listen. You'll be able to count on this show, and other people will be counting on you in a good way, no pressure way. You can cancel at any point, but you'll be a part of this thing that impacts so many people's lives, and its goal is to bring sleepy joy and delight in the deep, dark night. So if all that's yeses, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on our show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes too. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Hannah like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. And remember, there's tons of free ways to help the podcast out. If you're one of those listeners who have been saying, hey, don't try to support the show directly. You could follow or subscribe to the show on your podcast app of choice so you get the episodes as they come out. You could comment or like episodes where you could do that. And you could let somebody know about the podcast. Those are all huge, huge ways to help the show, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. And what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing trouble, getting to sleep trouble, staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. That could be thoughts on your mind, thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thoughts you're thinking about. So thoughts, it could be feelings, anything coming up for you, feelings about like the past, the present, the future, the thoughts, feelings that are just there. It could be physical sensations. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going through something. You could be in the middle of something. Maybe you work a different shift. Maybe you just changed jobs, or you're, in between, or you got guests, you're traveling, you're in the middle of something. Whatever it is, I want to let you know, wherever it is, there's someone listening right now that sees you where you are. Whatever it is that brought you here, there's someone holding a caring space, a listener. I mean, I'm trying to do it too, but that's been through something really close to whatever it is that brought you to this show. And I can only tell you that because I know there's enough people listening that I hear from, and their favorite part of the show is this part of the show, because they get to root for somebody that they don't even know, but they know what it feels like. And they're glad you're here, and they're hoping you get some relief because they know, like I know, you deserve a bedtime without rigmarole, without hassle, where you can get the rest you need so your life's more manageable tomorrow, or that bedtime doesn't feel, and the night doesn't feel so unmanageable. And those listeners are really like me, like, and it'd be nice if you got the rest you need on a regular basis, if it's through this podcast, or I can introduce you to something else. And that'd be cool, right? So that's what I'm here to try to do, is to just create a space where I could take your mind off stuff so you can follow. So it's a very unique way of doing it. Because if you get the rest you need on a regular basis, you could be out there in the world flourishing. And that's what our world needs most now is you. Really. Like, it may sound trite, but it's true. You in the world flourishing means our entire planet is a little bit better. Or, well, in your case, a lot better. I mean, come on, let's be honest. You're going to have a lot, like, and that'll be nice. And it'll also be nice if this podcast, if it is a regular part of your life, or it's been a regular part of your life, but you haven't participated in this part of the show. Those listeners out there that are participating indirectly right now, they get a little bit of extra soothing joy when they're sending out their well wishes to all the new listeners and all the people struggling. And they know that when they're struggling or whenever they need it, not only can they send that joy, send that comfort, but they can receive it, that it's kind of like an interchange or something. Or like a Venn diagram of different warm sunshines. And he said, that's not, oh yeah, I'm going to be on this part of the Venn diagram. I need a little bit, I'm going to take both those suns, the Superman sun and the non-Superman sun. And yeah, a little bit of that more magic hour sunshine. But I'm going to put my feet over on those two. All I can say is I'm not the only one that's glad you're here or glad you're coming back. And that's the important thing for me to point out. That's the only reason this show exists, really, is to help you out. And then if it can help you out on a regular basis, you get to wish that it helps and hope that it helps somebody else out. And maybe it doesn't even help them. You don't only have to root for people that are in the same spot as you or a similar spot. You could say, there's somebody out there struggling with something totally different than me, but some of the feelings deep down we share of frustrations and loneliness or whatever it is. That's the fuel of the podcast. And the way it works, and that's also the most serious part of the podcast, because I'm serious about it. But what I do is I send my voice across the deep dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So I go off topic, I get mixed up, I forget what I was talking about. Then I like re-speak or reword stuff, double back, try to, whatever that was. I wasn't playing that game, Charades. But I'm sure there's been people that said, this whole thing's a charade. How about, here's an idea. I just thought of it. Maybe I've thought of it before, or maybe it exists. And there's two versions of it. So are you ready for this? Parade of charades and charade parade. Now, if you make that game, sorry, you're going to have to send me like multiple millions, please. Charade parade would be like you're playing charades, but you're in a parade. So you're parading around the room, and I'll figure out the other rules. Maybe this is no. Actually, we can't do it as an episode tonight because of the intro, or maybe we can. I'll just change. I'll tell you what. Whoever's editing this is a little behind the scenes. Let's change the very beginning, and we'll make that as a part of another episode. So this episode will be about those two games. So now I don't even have to even go further. Charade of parades, parade of charade parade, where I may or may not attempt to, I don't know what'll happen. So yeah, I'm glad you're here for that. I send my voice across, lulling, soothing, creaky. This is a podcast that I'm trying to, like, get back to the intro of the podcast. I'm just watching parading Charades in my brain. So, this is a podcast, it kind of alluded to it earlier, that whatever brought you here, you are welcome here. But this show is very different, and it does take, I guess, some acclimating, and it's just not for everybody. It is like a taste thing. It's not everybody's thing. Just like music, or particularly more like music, or like books, or like some people are fiction people, some people are nonfiction, some people are genre fiction. And they say, no, I'm just not into that. And I say, okay, well, that's cool. And that's the same thing with Sleep With Me. All I can say is give it a few tries and see how it goes. Because when most people get here, maybe you searched for the show, maybe somebody told you about it, maybe you just stumbled on it, and you had expectations, right? And then if you've struggled with sleep your whole life for a long time, like I have, you kind of want relief, but you're skeptical, right? You spent a lot of money on things. You've tested stuff out. It's worked once or twice, and then the third time it doesn't work at all. So if you're skeptical or doubtful or frustrated, that's how the majority of people get here. Not everybody, but, most people, they are like, what is this? I thought this was a sleep podcast. What is this guy going on about? So that's normal. And all that, like, so give the show a few tries. That's what most regular listeners say. Give it 2 or 3 tries and just see how it goes. Because if you're skeptical, you're doubtful, you're confused, you expected something a little bit more soothing, there will be storytelling later. I mean, I think if there's been storytelling the whole time, but be some sort of storytelling. Because I think it's a great opportunity to do the old story within a story within a story technique, where then I have 3 levels of stories to get lost within. But yeah, so give it a few tries, see how it goes. That's what most people that support the show on Sleep With Me Plus, most of those people didn't like the podcast at first. And then the second time they're like, oh man, what is, I can't believe I'm listening to this again. I'm not saying any of this in jest or an irony or a snarky. That's like what most people experience. And if that's not your experience, that's okay. But that's kind of what, oh, man. And then on the third time, they would just wake up and the next day and they say, oh, wait a second. He was serious when he says the show's always going nowhere, never getting started. It's always, he's riding the old story clutch. What's the, it used to be a way to drive cars. Most of the world, they still use it, I think. It's, story clutch. Yeah, he doesn't even know what it means. He tried to learn a few times to drive automatic manual transmission, but he never did. He should have just rode the clutch, which he did. So what was my point? Just give the show 2 or 3 tries, see how it goes. Now, if you find out it's not a fit, right? You could hear, I'm going to tell you this. You may not remember it, but I'm going to say it every episode. Or if you already know this is not going to work, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Or No Thanks has other sleep podcasts and sleepy stuff on there. So you could still fall asleep, but you can find another sleep podcast that works for you. So just see how it goes. You got nothing to lose. And again, if it doesn't work, you can move on and kind of, say, well, I guess, he's just not, doesn't work for me. You don't work for me. I say, okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm very few people's cup of tea, but maybe that's the thing with sleep stuff I've learned. Maybe I'm your cup of tea. Let's just see what happens. Or you say, no tea for me. And I'd say, makes sense. So that's one thing. The other thing is this is a show you don't really listen to. You just kind of barely listen, like an out of focus picture, a show streaming under your pillow, sand passing through your hands, like a TV on in the other room, a book or a game or audio book or a podcast you're you're hearing, but you're not listening. You're aware of some sort of warbling, and it's comforting, and but you're not paying attention to it. It's relieving you and kind of distracting you, kind of on some other level. I mean, those are some of the principles behind the podcast, not the pleasure principle, which I don't even know what that was. Like, I think that was Janet Jackson that sang about the pleasure principle. I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't name any of the lyrics. And even now, I'm like, oh boy, maybe she was talking about when you, like butterflies in the old tummy, I guess. So, but moving quickly on. So it's a podcast you could pay attention to, but you don't need to. And that's an adjustment, right? I'm a friend that's hanging out with you. And here's the thing. I've been making a show over 12 years. I think when you're hearing this will be our 14th calendar year making the show. And I'm not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company and I'm here to get, there's no pressure to fall asleep with the show at all. No pressure to sleep or fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company. The shows are over an hour for that reason. And for the fact that there's people listening who can't sleep at all, who need a break during the day or in the middle of the night, or who need something to listen to while they're working or studying or getting through their day. And I'm here to keep them company to the very end and you company to the very end. So there's no pressure to listen and no pressure to fall asleep. My role is to be your boyfriend, your borbay, your borsib, your neighbor, your borby, your borman, your Boris Borloff, your chairman of the boards, your borsib, your borbra, your boris, your best boyfriend forever. To just hang out with you and be on call, talking, just like a friend would. But I can do it way more often than your friend can, unless you have a friend named Canned. And BSC, that's a cool name. I'm Canned. Were you recently? No, just were you ever don't understand? Well, that's my name. Don't wear it out. I don't know if I could. I don't think I could. Canned. I mean, I personally, I could. Most people wouldn't. But I mean, as a sleep podcaster, that's one of my specialties. But I won't do it now. So that's a few things you're going to want to know about the show. The only other thing, if you're new, that I'd like to meet you where you are is explain why we structure the show the way we do. Because the structure of the show can also be very frustrating for new people or just regular listeners in general. And the show's very flexible. But this version that I'll explain is what benefits the maximum amount of people we can. That's why we put it out. So the show starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in, and you say, oh, okay, I might be able to check that show out. Then after that part is a long, then after that is support. So that paying for the show is optional. And it really comes down to the people that listen the most. If they support the show and the sponsors, the show's there for everybody else. Or the people that kind of benefit from it if they support some of the sponsors of the show. But if you're new, you're not in a position to support the show, you're not a person that supports stuff, that's fine too. Or if you don't like that stuff, you could still support the show to skip all of it. But that's what enables us to benefit the most amount of people we can versus it just being a paid service or something. So that's what the support's about. Also, it's kind of fun. A lot of the support-related stuff we do, we have a lot of fun with it. So... but that's the support. Then after the support, totally separate from the support, is the intro of the podcast, which we're like 20 minutes into now. And that's a show within a show where I explain what the podcast is, but instead of introducing the same intro every time and it being flashy and short and effective and repetitive, it's long and meandering and new every time. So it's familiar. It's reassuring, but it's fresh. And that's, in my experience with sleep stuff, what I need is variety and freshness along with that reassurance and familiarity. If something's too repetitive, it wakes me up. Or just I could just, I could just record my friend and play the same thing over and over again. And as you become a super listener, you might find that you have favorites and stuff. But so just see how it goes at first. This is what benefits the most amount of people, but not all the listeners. The intro also goes on and on and on to ease you into bedtime. So it's not meant to put you to sleep. While it does put some people to sleep, most people are winding down, getting ready for bed, getting in bed, getting comfortable, petting their pets, chilling out, doing some wind down activity. And this is meant to kind of, for all of us to hang out together. And if you have like a buffer time, a wind down time, that's what works for me personally. That's what studies have shown works the best. Doesn't work for me all the time, just most of the time. But it also gives me something to quote, to bring it back to the pleasure principle. It does give me something somewhat, not Janet, not that kind of pleasure, but, something nice at bedtime. Well, I can't say no, not that kind, because I don't know actually what the song was about. I mean, the only time I raised my hand in school I was daydreaming. I said, "Excuse me, can you tell me what the pleasure principle is again?" And then there was dead silence, then some giggling. And then this was in math. I went into some sort of fugue state, or Janet Jackson related, JJFS, Janet Jackson, JJRFS, Janet Jackson related fugue, Janet Jackson related imaginary, Janet Jackson related imaginary fugue state, imagining. Maybe I wasn't in a fugue state. No, that's different. Janet Jackson related daydreaming's totally different. But they said, why don't you go to the principal? Oh, interesting. So the principal's going to tell me, and they said, no, just go to the principal. Oh, okay. Wasn't I introducing a sleep podcast? I forgot. Oh, I was talking about my part of my wind down routine is stuff I like, petting my dog, snuggling my dog, reading some fiction. And that's what the intro is a part of, to make it nice to go to bed. Now, if you decide you don't like the intros, we have a separate podcast, and every podcast have bedtime stories from Sleep With Me that just has the story-only portions. And then on Sleep With Me Plus, there's even more story-only versions. So if you just like the story-only versions, you could get that as well, or you want even more stuff. But yeah, the intro is meant to ease you into bedtime. And you could set a sleep timer. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the podcast app, especially a high-quality podcast app, which most of those are listener-supported, like independent podcast apps. So, yeah, try that out, too. But, yeah, that's the structure of the show. That's only the beginning. Then after the intro will be some support, and then there'll be our story, which apparently is going to be about... I don't even know. But yeah, it'll be a trending Tuesday style show, where who knows? It'll be nice. So I'm glad you're here. I work really hard making the show. So do much other people. If you want to support the show back, follow it in your podcast app of choice. Test out podcast apps to see, especially for situations. Like if you're listening to one app and you have daytime podcasts you love, try out a different podcast app for your nighttime stuff, and then you're exercising or you're walking or your music or whatever. And then you could use those apps also as backups. But yeah, try out whatever, follow, comment, spread the word about the show. And if the podcast has changed your life for the better, or continues to change your life, we really could use your support checking out these sponsors or supporting the show here directly. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix. And you know where I was last night? So comfortable, and this morning, and I didn't want to get out of bed because I was so cozy, so comfortable. Yeah, of course, I was in my Helix mattress. And the amazing thing about my Helix is it fits my needs, my sleep preferences, how I like to feel in bed. Because I took the quiz over at helixsleep.com/sleep, and I got matched with a mattress. So of all the features I need to sleep cool and comfortable, all the support I need for when I'm sleeping on my side, when I'm sleeping on my stomach, to take good care of my back, and so I get a great night's sleep, and then I'm so comfortable. You know, I'd like to take the day off and spend it in bed, especially on these cool winter nights. Holy moly. But what about you and your mattress? Do you think it's time for an upgrade to a mattress that gets you and what you need? What's going to make you comfortable? I think you deserve that, right? And you could take that Helix quiz. It matches you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences and sleep needs. It makes buying a mattress easy, and you do it in the comfort of your own home. And there's free shipping in the U.S. It comes straight to your door. And what an upgrade it's been, because I had to temporarily sleep on a mattress that was not a Helix. And now I look forward to going to bed every night, to getting cozy, pulling those blankets in and snuggling down in my Helix. I'm going to be comfortable all night long. So what about you? How about you take that quiz and you see what discount Helix has to offer right now? Go to helixsleep.com/sleep to see the latest offers for Sleep With Me listeners. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for current offers. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. That's helixsleep.com/sleep.
This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
All right, everybody, this is Scoots here, and this is one of these tales never told. The old trending tales never told. And it's funny how these kind of come up when I'm making an intro for something else. And then I say, wait a second, now I'm going to have to use this intro for this episode because this reminds me of a tale never told. And it's tough to say whether this tale could be called the Charade Parade or the Parade of Charades. And probably the Parade of Charades, because Charade Parade in this story is used in different contexts, which would, it could be used in too many contexts, maybe. But this is a tale never told, a Parade of Charades. Now, this also has, once upon a time, here in central New York, there was a woman, and I'm going to add in some extra words, because this is a sleep podcast. And this story is not about her, but her name was Joan, and she was known as Joyous Wheat Germ Joan, among other terms. And she had this, I think it was the Society of Joyous Wheat Germs, Joyous Wheat Germ Joy Society. And the reason it's important is because, it's important for two reasons. One, to make my siblings laugh, not in this podcast episode, but continuously they remind me of a picture in the newspaper of me as an attendee, not as a participant, though there was one time I do believe I was a participant on a float, and Joan had a parade every year. And maybe later on in the episode we'll talk about that. But her parade was called, there was the day where you were supposed to spread joy, like in the context, it was just cute to be wheat germs. Were wheat, like, that was the thing, you'd sprinkle it on stuff. It was, full of good stuff for you. And so spread that joy around. And, but in the picture, I'm like waving at the parade, but I have like a typical look in my face, like I'm not present in the present moment, but I'm also kicking my hip out. And I was like probably in third grade, second grade. So it's like a picture that just makes people laugh. In a sense at my expense, because it's like just an interesting look. And when you say kicking your hip out, like you kind of say like you're kicking your hip out like you're doing something on Broadway or something like that. But also, I think, I was on a float one time, some sort of wheat germ, but to spread joy. And so that's like part of this story is that Joan was such an inspiration to people, but the kind of inspiration like that once a year, you forget about, that sits latent in your mind. But there's other ideas of it. Free hugs is one of those big things. And the only thing with free hugs is that, for people like me, I'm just not comfortable. I'm not really much of a hugger unless it's like a society says this is a hugging situation. And, or it's, a close family member. But it's not about you. Everybody has their different comfort levels, right? I'm just not comfortable getting or giving free hugs. I mean, occasionally I will be, but very rarely. And so the cool thing about the wheat germ joy is that, you could do it at any distance. That's why I make Sleep With Me. It says, well, we have an indirect closeness, all of us here. But this tale involves someone named Veenie, which is a unique name, Veenie. And Veenie at some point indirectly had been impacted in a positive way by wheat germ Joyce Wheat Germ Joan. But Veenie didn't really know it consciously, right? And Veenie went through, those things we go through in life, like wondering, I don't know, Veenie was a bit of a daydreamer, and I can relate to that, though Veenie daydreamed to different things. At the time, Veenie was really good at math and science at school. And just happened to excel at those type of things, particularly the math and science, that a casual person like me would say is like physics. And I say, is it astrophysics too? Is there there probably is geophysics. And they say, do you have to astro is like and there's geosynchronous orbits. And, but there's also always a layer of pursuit, right? When we're on these journeys like Veenie was on, Veenie said not directly to herself, but, when she would get praised for being good at math or science by her peers, pretty rare. By her teachers, a little bit more, though sometimes it didn't ring true because not everybody's into math or science. But Veenie, it's like this cross where you have aptitude for something and you enjoy it, and so then you spend time doing it, and then you get better at it, and you're interested in it. And, it also helped to boost Veenie's grades. Not every grade was Veenie was not a straight A student, but a successful student. And kind of was a tough time, though, because a lot of people, they have a misunderstanding that there's a variety of intelligences in the world. it's an easy thing to forget, you know, because, oh boy, the Hollywoodization of intelligence. I think that was a op-ed piece I skipped because I said, I don't know. I don't like that title, even though it was imaginary. But that Vini got caught up in that. That is like, wait a second, you're telling me you're an A student, even from her family. They say you get straight A's in math and science, but you don't get A's in history, literature, you know, language studies, Spanish at the time Vini was taking, and. I said, well, I get B+ in Spanish. I mean, and yeah, no, I didn't, you know, I said, it's a little bit harder for me. And you say, but I don't get it. Like, you could do, how did you got 100% on this math test? You're taking your math with people 2 years older than you. And so that kind of misunderstanding and celebration at the same time, you know, offered that waxing and waning, that a little discomfort and then relief from the discomfort. And all this to say that math and science kind of also took on like an extra magical layer of, you know, like the experience of it. And so, like from high school, I mean, Vini was well enough known that going to college to study math and says, well, what would become what would like sort of a confluence of math and science, or science that uses math. We'll just call it geophysics for now because this is just a story. It's just easier to explain. To study geophysics, and so I think that's what I want to learn more about, the physics of the Earth and within the Earth. Well, because the other thing, Vini, while Vini was a little bit more invested in our material world, not material like has been sung by Madonna, though Vini did like that song. And actually, Vini even won a science fair talking about the material in the material world. A treatise on Madonna's material, the material that makes up materialism within Madonna's something. I forget. I can't quite read the sign right now as I'm seeing it in my memory. But that's pretty cool. Like because Vini imagined she took a material girl. And then analyzed all of the material items within Material Girl, and then talked about the materials used to make those material items, and where they could have been sourced from. And actually, I mean, would have won the science fair if people realized, like where at the time, because Vini was not born in the 80s. That at the time, like, you see, that's pretty interesting. Not just where it might be sourced. Okay, first of all, was that a silk dress or a satin dress? These are questions we need to establish based on the video, based on research. Okay, we could determine that this is this. And at the time, the video was probably produced in this date range. Also, this gown was more than likely done in the style of I don't know, I would say Versace just because my, so that's like let's just say it was a Versace gown. One of the things featured in the video was Madonna in a Versace gown. Oh, okay. Well, at this particular, now the question, and then Vini would all, like, it was just too much for most, they said, even for the judges, which are, judges of science fairs tend to be, you could go change times and say, know your audience, but that would mean that Vini did not do something awe-inspiring for those that were able to witness what she had done. And it also got her into an incredibly prestigious university with a geophysics program. But that the fact of the matter is, like, most people, they say, Madonna and science, eh? Interesting. Instead of saying, wait a second, you know what I'm saying? Like, she really broke down where, okay, was it a Versace gown or was it like a costume? Okay, if it was, so you see in the science project where it has different things, kind of like something like, almost like she was investigating. Now, the rule was, I mean, there was a time constraint and a space constraint because, got to fit a science thing in a booth. But also, Madonna had to be wearing it in the video. Now, fun imaginary fact, the gloves she was wearing and the dress she was wearing, two different materials from the material world. So that's always interesting. But so that was like a point in Vini's life where if you were looking, as some, not really any of her peers, though she had friends, they were in their own worlds. This is adolescence we're talking about here. It's not a road without its own potholes, as they say. The road through adolescence, holy moly. I think that's the old saying, Oshkosh Bagosh, adolescence. Also, Scooter has a question. Which age is adolescence? Because then there's probably another stage, right? Also, not sure which stage I'm in currently. Is there something called twilight adolescence or adolescent twilight stage? Because I'd like to claim that as with the right now, at least as I'm recording this, to say, yeah, I'm in a stage of twilight. I guess it's not twilight adolescence because that would mean I'm in adolescence. So it'd be, and then somebody say, you're in post-adolescence twilight. I said, no, I don't like that one. Twilight adolescence, okay, I can't do that. Adolescent twilight, I guess. That's also a song I may write and dance to. Adolescent twilight. I guess it'd be more of a jazz number. Yeah, probably shouldn't have words. You're right, brain. Holy, is that my left brain or my right brain? I say you're totally right. Adolescent twilight. That's just something that grooves. Okay, so this was one of the many. It's just a place where we stopped for a little meander. This science fair project about the material in Madonna's material world. That makes out the material girl. Also, fun fact, it did make its way to Madonna, and Madonna did see, Vini did it, made a kind of zine and sent it to Madonna about it. And Madonna enjoyed it, at least as far as, even though this is tale never told, and sent a follow-up letter. Now, unfortunately, follow-up letter never made it to Vini, but Vini did not send the zine to Madonna expecting a return anyway. Now, could this have changed the trajectory of Vini's life? I don't know. I think those questions are best suited to be asked here in the Tales Never Told. But probably not, because there is a sense of inevitability to Vini's journey. That this call to adventure, even if Madonna, here's the thing. I don't know a lot about, Madonna in the, whatever we were in, the 20s. But I don't know that she's ever had her own personal scientist. I don't know that she had this is my personal assistant, Brad Bradderson, and this is my personal geophysicist, Vini. Just a tough, line item for any performer to have. You'd say, okay, what is your personal oh boy, what is it? Was she manage your crystals? See, I mean, you can see the kind of snark. So, I mean, even if you'd be an undercover personal geophysicist, you know. She's my GP. And they say, oh, okay, your GP. That makes total sense. Okay, nice to meet you, Vinny. Are you Vinny at this time would have probably had a doctorate. Are you doctor of GP? And Vinny would just laugh. But Vinny's life took a different direction. I mean, I guess if you were Madonna's personal geophysicist, and you had a good arrangement with Madonna, like it'd almost be like you're an endowed professor or something. I don't know anything about that, but you say, okay, most of the time I'm doing research, and yeah, Madonna gets kind of like when all the problems that Dolly Parton solved, I guess is a real world example of this. Well, Dolly Parton never had her own personal geophysicist. She did say at a time in history, how can I help? And what steps do I need to take to help everybody? And Madonna did do that in an indirect way, just never the mail it went to the wrong address. Maple Lane, Maple Ave. Brad Bradderson's a personal assistant. He's also worked on this podcast before. That's the only way I know about that part. But Brad doesn't need to regret anything. Because, I don't know, like, there was other things in the cards for Vini, which was going to school, studying, becoming acclaimed. I mean, I guess for me, if I had, like, these are the kind of things that would help with me. If I had all that information from Vini's report and then I had to have dinner with Madonna, I guess it would overlean on it where she'd be, maybe in her head be like, this guy's only talking to me about Vini's science. And he said, well, I don't really... I got to keep asking you questions. I don't know what else to talk about. And I don't want to talk about myself. So I'm just going to keep asking you questions about Vini's report. I have it right here in the zine. Or we could sit and eat dinner silently while we color in Vini. You know, we could have 2 copies of the zine. And we could use crayons and markers to color it in. But, luckily, that's not an issue. So, okay, back to where we were. So Vini went off to schools. You know, obviously, when you become a geophysicist of renown, well-known, well-respected, you know, some acclaim and not the world's foremost, always reminds me of Little Miss Sunshine, like, that the character was the second most acclaimed, Proust scholar in the world. I believe this. I just think that's like so, it's just funny to me. Is that maybe I even imagined that, but that wasn't Vini's thing. But so Vini started this path, right? Path of science and the branching off of science. And what do you want to do for science? What do you want to do for Earth? Well, who funds geophysical physicist projects? Say, okay, well, interesting. And that's not the important part of our story. Except for the fact that I guess to call back, what Vini didn't even realize at the time, maybe missing in her educational journey at the time was that kind of liberal arts piece. But don't worry, it'll pay off later. But that even though she didn't directly realize at the time, her science project about Madonna was a commentary on many things. It was just so organic that it wasn't a statement. It was just so infused with Vini being Vini and Vini's view of the world that she didn't know she was making commentary on things in the world. So, like, within, you know what I mean? We all have this thing within us that is connected to some sort of a deeper thing within us, or some deeper source in the universe, or deeper source within the collective creative unconscious, or whatever it is. So I don't know, I guess that's only important because it's like there was this dissatisfaction, but it was a vague dissatisfaction. It wasn't directly tied to, oh, we're working on this project for this company. No. If that's what the geophysics of the earth are supposed to be, or, oh, okay. Oh, wow, you're the department of this. And, but this is an interesting thing to think about. And, wow, okay, these are interesting geophysical questions to be answered. So I like looking into it. And so that's just a part of, like Vini's, like this vague dissatisfaction. Now, the vague dissatisfaction was also playing out in Vini's personal life. And, we're not here to get into it, but Vini was, like, looking for connection, right? And had some friendships from connection and some ups and downs with connection of the heart. And, but nothing... and unfortunately, like nothing that cleared it all, right? That cleared the board. And I don't know, this is where I most relate to Vini, even though our journeys are so different, was like, at some point, I'll be totally okay. And the inside and the outside, if I just do A, B, and C, or maybe I change D, E, and F within me, and H, I, and J, and I get a handle on L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, what can I do? And no need to CUP or whatever. And, then I'll deal with X, Y, and Z. I'll be all set, and those aren't things we say to ourselves directly, when we're hurt, if you're like me and you rehearse your whole life before you go out the door. But they are things that exist within. Now, maybe they don't exist within everyone, but they existed within me, and I can hear it when I went around collecting Vini's tale, trying to find. I said, "This is a tale never told." Well, yeah, I only know part of it. Well, thanks, Brad Bradderson, for if you like Maple Lane, Maple Place, or Maple Ave. Holy moly! One number different on the zip code. And you could have got a letter from Madonna, not just a one-pager either. Or, the old missed romances, missed chances. Okay, well, now I got to make up for it. But wait a second, now I got that. I got the lab. Don't need a lab partner anymore. Fully funded. I got mentor and mentees, but still, Vini said, something's not there, something I'm looking for. And Vini was searching within the confines of her world, right? Geothermal, like whatever. I don't know. I mean, again, I say, man, if I could get myself some of that, I mean, I think me and Vini would both agree. If I could tap into that geothermal energy, especially some sort of geothermal heated flooring, maybe a hot tub or a hot spring. I don't see how I could, I don't see how anything else could cause me. You telling me my home's geothermal, cooled and heated? And is that radiant? No, it's not a radiant heat floor. It's geothermal. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll be fine then. But even as Vini and other scientists she worked with or even had rivalries with, did unlock some of the great geothermal mysteries. There was something missing. And one piece of it, though, that never seemed real to Vini was the fact that they almost got to this earlier and they went off topic, is that Vini believed in the magic beneath the earth, not just a real magic, right, which is magic enough. And she would say that all the time. Core of the earth's magic enough. But I really like reading fiction that involves worlds with under the earth. And I even thought for the longest time, Middle Earth happened in the middle of the earth. And even when I heard about the stories or people told it to me, and I said, how's there sky in the middle of the earth? And, but that's pretty cool if there is. And so Vini also wondered, and Wawa wondered if, there was a magical world, full, within the earth, beneath the earth, and her science brain would say, okay, pipe it down or whatever. And then she'd read about some big discovery, like this, whatever, the innermost briny shrimp. That's an imaginary being that lives, that lives like deep within the mesocrust, which Vini's already corrected me doesn't exist. But I'd see it just like a whatever, geosynchronous scientist. I say, dude, keep it up, Vini. You'll be a geosynchronous scientist. And you'll be out there in a lab circling Earth. If you keep, interrupting me about the innermost briny shrimp. Vini was hoping to be, oh, no, we didn't just that's like the innermost briny shrimp are actually the sea monkeys of Middle Earth. We finally discovered it. And Middle Earth doesn't just have a sky. I don't know. And Vini would always wonder how would that even work, right? And her theory was that some part of molten rock was some sort of like a pathway to other universes. So when she would daydream or try to find, either hard sci-fi or looser, more imaginary-based sci-fi, she would look for stuff where it's like, okay, in the somewhere in the molten rock, something happens, or molten rock is not what it seems, and so something exists within it and beyond it, beyond our understanding. And then another thing was and/or micro worlds, because she really wanted Middle Earth, not just the one from the books, but something like that, something fully transformative, but also familiar, sky, regular physics, horses, Aragon or whatever, magic, most of the good stuff. Okay, well, what if it's a micro world somehow? Different things. But that wasn't quite enough, because, as you learn, like you say, once you learn, this is not something Vini ever said, but once you learn that the meso Earth, or like whatever layer, meso layer of Earth, mesosphere is not real, it takes away something. So it's like, once she knew that the innermost briny shrimp was only an innermost briny shrimp, it was kind of like a slow letdown. And, just like Scoots, she said, once I reach a certain point in, whatever, Earth and physics or whatever you want. I guess that's what she was going to be if she lived within Middle Earth. In Earth, and so that's what they would call Earth and physics, with a K. I say, well, would I be a smithy, or a, but that's what I'm going to call it, or, some sort of potion maker. Probably a smithy, and so she did make one last try, which was, because it was a bigger letdown than it really sounds. Okay, that was the big discovery. Okay, some sort of briny shrimp. You can't even prove how it even got there. And we haven't found any more, more populations of them except for that pocket. Okay, great. In the water, it could have been somebody's, you telling me it could have been actual sea monkeys that some point, hit a pocket of the perfect temperature, salty water, went through a bunch of cracks and ended up down there in a perfectly temperate pocket. That's a bummer. Easy, so, well, wait till the date is in. But so Brian, he got into, not LARPing, because Vinny wasn't really into the action part so much as the living part. And she did get into Ren fairing, and eventually got into work, having a booth as a smith, as a decorative wearing thing, things you would wear decoratively, smithy, with different, I don't know what that's called, so different metals, maybe jewelry, maybe other stuff. And Vini got into that. But then what happened was there was at the Ren Fair Vini was going to, there was also a little love connection there for a time. But, like they say, this Ren Fair only runs for 6 weekends in September. And they said there's not 6 weekends in September. And they said this Ren Fair only runs 6 weekends in the autumn or the summer. Or, if there was a 6 weeks in September, if there was a 6 week in September, that's what it felt like. That would be the song I would have sung about our last Ren Fair together. But Vini's interest, they moved on to different maybe they moved on from Ren Fairs. In the next autumn, people saw that Vini was a little bit different, a little bit more withdrawn. And people noticed it at work or whatever. And finally, someone said, they didn't say, you lass name Vini, but they kind of did. They said, hey, what's going on? Seems like you've lost all joy in, creating jewelry, casting. I don't know. Is that and even science, and they said, is it the person you're in the, and Vinny said, you know what? No, the innermost briny shrimp, is what really, that one, it's not easy getting over love lost, but, I don't think Middle Earth is real, and they laughed. Then they laughed again. And they did what any of us would imagine in a cinematic moment like this, the person would do. And who knows if this person was elvish or orcish or, looked like burly or, they were wearing wings, whatever it was. They laughed heartily. And they said, oh, Vini, Middle Earth's right here all around us, but most of all. And they said, yeah, right there in your heart, Vini, come on. Look at this. People come here, they watch you work. The joy's already here. You just, it was never the briny shrimp, Brian Shimmer was only first Feeney didn't get it. Most of us. So yeah, the typical, of course, Miller's right here in my heart, but then I can't even go there. And so, a lot of us would, instead of it being immediate, this rebound to joyousness, it kind of got where, I don't know. Vini, Scoots, could be a bit of a grouch and a bit of a withdrawn grouch that still participates, but scowls. and exists on the periphery of things. And I can't really think of the word, but as like this group of people who had gotten connected through this one Ren fair, and that was big enough that it kind of lasted like a significant part of the year, and then they stayed in touch and got together in between. And as time had passed and Veenie's it kind of cut back, the dissatisfaction meant a withdrawal from the career too, which people were never, they didn't realize, Veenie knew like how to manage things. They said, you're going to give up your career. You got to, whatever you call it, tenured, or you got to, this thing from this, council of whatever. What do you do? You're going to work at a Ren fair? Veenie said, I could do both a little bit. And they said, I don't think you can. And so Veenie said, well, I'll find a school where I can do both a little bit then. But I know I have valuable knowledge. I know I'm good with the students. And he said, oh, okay, but don't worry. We'll make it work with your Ren fair schedule. And she said, I wish you wouldn't call it that. That's not what I call it. But anyway, I got to move on. But it was one fateful night, not too long after they said, Middle Earth's within your heart, that Veenie was on the periphery, particularly feeling it, right? And for a while, she had taken it out on, or projected it, as they'd say, or blamed the people closest to her. And particularly, she had just gone through this phase where she kind of was like almost in the ostracization, you know what I'm saying, of her friends, her closest friends from this friend group. And she'd had a couple of people she wasn't speaking to or spoken to, like with in no uncertain terms. And they were gathered around the fire one night. And, the boisterous people were being boisterous, and the funny people were being funny. The singing people were being singy. The dancing people were being dancey. But it was one of those nights where Veenie's glaring, but also people's love of Veenie had both an equal measure. And that something kind of cosmic did happen where all of the noise kind of died down. And everyone in this group around the fire, hearty ales and, big chunks of bread and whatever, it got quiet. Each person got quiet and they didn't know, no one knew what to say. Nothing organically was coming up. Maybe somebody was plucking their lyre, but they weren't playing a song even. And it's hard to say that this really happened, but it did. One by one, everybody started to notice Veenie, not on purpose. And Veenie started to notice everybody noticed, but not on purpose. Then everybody noticed, they noticed Veenie, not on purpose, but they all noticed it together. And that Veenie was glaring, and that this was ridiculous. Like, we just, and Veenie even said, God awful quiet, all of a sudden, and said it in a way to acknowledge the tension based in absurdity. And then people started to laugh and laugh and laugh. And Veenie started to laugh. And then Veenie waved off their laughter in a way that seemed very, very serious. And everybody, oh boy, maybe this I thought we had a laugh. This was laughter of relief. But Veenie said, no. And Veenie even made like a scowl, like a very childlike scowling, fist clutching, shaking motion, and patted her chest. And then she got an idea, and she did. She put up her finger, And then people said, like they were doing it. And then she shook them off again, but definitely in a way that it's like, oh, okay, I think the tension, what's happening? The tension may have been relieved, but I'm not exactly sure. And she shook them off again. And then she said, like she counted out on her, she made it seem like she was doing something. So she counted on her hand. Okay. And she said, oh, okay. And she said she did this thing with her hand where she's kind of saying, and then people started, and she put up 4, and they said, oh, okay, 4 words. And Vinny did a thumbs up. And then Vinny did 1. Okay, first word, right? Okay, first word. And then Vinny started pointing at herself, and they said, you, Vinny, me. Like, and then Vinny said, no. First word, and pointed to her eye. And they said, I. Okay. And then Vinny said, okay. Fourth word, because the first and second and third words seemed tough. And first Vinny scooped stuff up from the ground, and they said dirt, sand, sod, and then Vinny dropped it, patted the ground, and then somebody said earth, and Vinny said, okay, yeah. And then she said, oh, okay, third word. And first she pointed to her abdomen, and they said abdomen. Okay, hip. And then she said, no. And then she counted 1, 2, 3. And they said 1, 2, 3. And she said, no. She said, okay, third word. And then she did 1, 2, 3 again. And then she pointed to the person 2. And then she pointed to 1 and 3. And then she kept pointing at 2. And they said, Zini. No. 1, 2, 3, 2. And then somebody said middle. Okay, Middle Earth. Middle Earth. And then Vinny said, stood up and then made a cheering motion. And they said, cry. And then said, no. And then she waved goodbye and cried. And then she started to back off and skip off. And they said, Miss, you miss Middle Earth. I miss Middle Earth. And then she started skipping through the fire thing. And then she said, come on. And this is how it started. Now, this was at night, right? But first they just paraded following her, but then she was going backwards, and then she finally said, oh, okay, wait a second. And then she explained it to them, because they was like, oh boy, Vinny's, going over the top or something. But then she's invented this game, Parade of Charades. But the cool thing was, it became a thing at this particular Renaissance festival, where they would have, because they normally have 1 to 2 parades anyway, at least one parade, but then they have the parade of charades. But it just started at this Ren Fair, and I guess again it would just to put a button on it, like it was that Vinny's parents had been into this Joyce wheat germs. They were wheat germs. Joyce wheat germs, but Vinny didn't even remember it. But so at the Renaissance Festival that all these people would go to, or they attended and worked at, they would do it, and they could do it, but they would do it with the audience watching the parade, if anybody watched, but you can kind of do it anywhere is the thing. You just in a parade. And there are a couple different methods. One is like the makeup game, where it's not actually charades. So this is like exquisite charades, where each person in the parade is like making a word, then the person makes a word behind them. So the first person in the parade's trying to, like, so then you're trying to make a story or make the charade work. So technically it's charades, but the answer isn't said until it becomes clear. Like, what's a good example of like a movie with, like a movie with like multiple words in the title? Like Return of the King. Like if the first person did return, and then I don't know why anyone would do of and the, but so it's probably not a good example. But they could think of it like you could whisper if you're like everybody's in the parade is on the team. So then it's like, how do I do of? So that's one way to do it. The other way is to actually do it like each person has, like you're trying to get through the whole parade as fast as you can with the parade watchers. But then what happens is the first person that guesses the answer, they go to the end of the parade. So like it's audience participation where you get to join the parade. So this is what they did at the Ren Fair. And they kind of made it easier on the audience. They came up with rules like turkey leg, horn, ale, knight, queen. But then anybody in the audience, they said, "Oh, queen," and they say, "Okay, great, you're at the end of the line." So then soon the parade would become all participants, and there was always a piper leading. That wasn't a part of the parade, but they were leading the parade. And it just became this legendary thing that ended up like, I mean, this is a tale never told. So it's happening. It just hasn't got to your area yet. But it's this huge source of joy where don't need to be at a Renaissance festival to do it. You start a parade doing charades, and it's very fun. Like, and you can even do it like, you say, okay, well, I don't have a parade viewing area. You say, okay, this is interesting. You got to do it outside or slowly indoors. But so then the first person is trying to have the last person guess what it is. But you have you have to like hold the first person gets both their hands, but everybody else is using one hand to hold on to the shirt of the person in front of them. And then you're parading around. And you should use easier things because it's harder for anybody to see. But actually, everybody in the line is trying to guess, technically, not just a last person, but they have the best view. So the people in the middle are like, what are they doing? How many was it? It's kind of like even harder charades. But yeah, that's the tale of Vini and the parade of charades. And I hope you enjoyed it, everybody, because we got another tale never told, a trending journey of Tuesdays. Good night. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots with a Tuck You In message. And you may have been hearing or listening or maybe haven't, like the past month, listing all the people that that shouldn't support the show, right? If you're new, you only listen once in a while, you can't afford to support the show, you don't want to, you don't need to support the show. But that led to a question that tons of people on Sleep With Me Plus have been answering, and that maybe I could answer for you. Should you support the show? And the easiest question, it may have a quick answer. Yes. Are you listening to me right now? Yes. Are you hearing me right now? Yes. And do you want to be a part of this thing that we're doing? Sleepy joy and delight in the deep, dark night? And if the answer is yes, right now in this moment, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus and sign up to not just support the show, but to be a part of this, being here for all those other people and for you. Not only will you get access to stuff based on how super listeners listen to the show, people that listen all night, people that have been listening for years, people that have favorites. They only listen to certain styles of shows. Maybe they only want the stories, but they want them as soon as they come out. Maybe whatever you like, that's what we built Sleep With Me Plus in mind. Or you just want ad-free listens, or you listen all night long. But are you a person
that Sleep With Me, you feel comfort with this show. You found this show and you're like, man, this is what I've been looking for. Is that a yes? I never found anything like this. Is that a yes? You helped me when nothing else worked. That's a yes. I like the idea of having a boar friend or a boar bud. That's a yes. You're there when I need you. I can count on this show. Is that a yes? Yes. I listen when I wake up in the middle of the night. Yes, I listen when I have trouble getting to sleep. Yes, I listen to more than one episode a night when I need to. Yes, I listen every night I need the show because I know I can count on it. Yes, I've been listening for years and years and years. Or yes, I just want, yes, I'd rather skip the music or have a preference beyond what a regular listener might have. Yes, I know how much thought, care, kindness, caring, hard work from Scooter and other people go into making the show so it can be here for me. Yes, I hear and in listening when you ask for support. Yes, I know the show needs my support. Yes, I'm in a position where I can support the show, but most importantly, yes, I want to support the show. I can and I want to. And maybe I want to because it's a yes, I'd miss the show if it was gone. Yes, I don't think I could replace this podcast. Yes, I count on it. Or maybe it's a yes, wow, this podcast, when I support it, I get to help thousands of other people who count on this show. Yes, me supporting this is rare in this world. Even being in a position to support the show is pretty rare. Yes, having a desire right now to take action to support something I care about is tough and rare. It's not easy. That's the one thing I've learned over the past this year is how tough it is to support the show. Not just financially, but there's something in everybody's way, and that's normal. So I'm looking for the people that have so many yeses, they outweigh those barriers, like to support the show right now. Yes, I know it will feel good when I support the show. Yes, I know I could cancel at any time. I'm not committed to anything either. Yes, I love the bore giggles. Yes, I love sleepy joy and delight in the deep dark night. Or yes, I just love the boredom, the consistency, the tone of the show. Yes, this podcast has changed my life. Yes, this podcast has changed my relationship with sleep. Yes, my life is better when this show is a part of it. But yes, right now I'm going to go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus and sign up to support the show. And yes, I'll set up the bonus content tomorrow. I won't do that because I'm already in bed. I'll just support the show now. But really, even if it's not your yes, I'm a part of this thing that's important to a lot of people. Yes, I'm a part of this thing that makes my life better and other people's lives better. And I want it to be here in this world. It is so different than a lot of things I see during the deep, dark day. Yes, I want to be a part of this thing, and I want to feel good about it. And you could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. But if you can't, you don't need to feel, you might feel things about it, right? Because we all do. But it's not a strategy. Yeah, it's really hard to support the show, even when you're in a position to. And yeah, not everybody's in a position to, or not everybody has those yeses. Not everybody wants to support the show. And maybe you're just a new listener, listen along with curiosity. Or you're one of those people that listens to the show every once in a while when you're going through one of those seasons of life, one of those phases from life. You're a quote-unquote regular listener. You only listen for a little bit at a time. You really don't need to support the show. I guess you could, but you don't need to. We just need those people with all those yeses. And I guess to get one of those people where the yeses pile up in a way that they switch the balance. And it's like, right now, I'm going to go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And that they realize, that you realize on one side, it's pretty normal to not be in a place financially or just where you want to support the show or where it's even possible. There's so many obstacles in that way, and that's okay. But that is also a big yes when someone does that, because that is what keeps the podcast around. And that is a sign, hey, I don't want this show not to, I want this show to be here. I can't replace it. So if any of those are, if you have enough yeses, please consider supporting the show. Thanks.